Carl was driving on rural 86 during that storm. Do you remember the storm? Of course not. You were in LA. It was a bad one. Cats and dogs. Worst storm I'd seen in 10 years. He was out there in the boons when he lost control of his car. It went down a ravine, over the guardrail, and you couldn't see it from the road, especially with the rain. You couldn't even see the headlights either. It took me an hour to figure he was late. Another 3 hours almost for someone to start looking for him. I just started thinking he probably just stopped off, waited out the weather. But he was hanging in there that whole time, upside down, twisted up in his seatbelt. They said he could reach the horn, but he couldn't hold it too long because, see, his arm was broken. And that's how he died. Upside down, pressing the horn whenever he could stand to.
So when did it start?
The night after he died. It started with drops of water. I'd be asleep in our bed, and I'd be woken up by rain, I guess. Raindrops falling onto my face. But I'd wake up and look around, and there'd be nothing there. But my face would be wet a little bit, and the pillow too. It got worse. There was a car horn. Short bursts. Distant, I think, but it was close enough to wake me. And then finally, this was all just after the funeral itself. The night after he was buried. I felt water on my cheeks. And I heard the horn. And I looked up at the ceiling. And he was hanging there, upside down. I could see water dripping off of his hair, and his face was purple, like all the blood had just pooled in his cheeks. You know, it's funny. You think if you see something like that, you would scream, but you don't. You just stare. You just stare like an idiot. Like something in your brain just tripped. So it was dripping off of him. The rain and the blood too, and he was just staring at me. And then his jaw dropped open, but instead of a scream, it was a car horn coming out of his mouth. So loud that I fell out of the bed And then I screamed. I screamed because I fell on the floor and it startled me. And then it was like I only just remembered, oh, right, I can scream. So I screamed all right. And then I ran and I tripped in the hallway and I looked back and he was gone. So I laid there and I cried. And that was the last time I slept in that room.
That's a very interesting story, Mrs. Walker.
Irene.
Irene. This is what I'd like to do. I'd like to look around your house, and I'd like to set up some equipment. I'd also like to sleep in that room tonight.
Oh, goodness.
I'll be fine. I can't promise that I'll include your story in my book,
Of course.
but it's possible. And I thank you for sharing it with me.
Well, thank you for listening.